Hello, and welcome to the Bend Like Bamboo Resilience Show, where on the show I get to chat with very special guests about their lives, hurdles, and lessons with tips on how we too can feel more resilient. And today on the show, I have Blake Collyer. Welcome, Blake.
Thanks for having me, Amanda.
That's all right. I know it's 9 a.m. for you at the moment in London and 6 p.m. for me.
Yeah, it was good. We could find a time that both sort of worked. The time difference can be a little bit difficult with London and Melbourne, but no, it's good we could find a time.
And thank you for your time. So for the people that don't know you yet, this is Blake Collyer, who's an athlete, pro golfer, who's currently on tour and is currently in London. I've known Blake for has it been about a year, do you think?
Yeah, I think about a year or so.
Yeah, something like that. And I really wanted to have you on the podcast to chat about all things resilience, because I find that you are an amazing human being and you're achieving so much in your life, and you're so young, and it really inspires me that you're such a go-getter. You're very connected within yourself, and I think we all need to have these conversations as we're all going through so much change within our lives, within ourselves and in the world at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the last 2 years or nearly 3 years now.
I know.
A lot of change.
A lot of change. And that's what I want to talk about tonight or this morning for you. So let's dive in. Tell me, Blake, what does resilience mean to you?
I think for me, it's that keep going sort of attitude when things can get a little bit tough, and almost having that positive attitude while you're doing it. So I know things will sort of pop up like little roadblocks or little hurdles, but sometimes I think you've just got to like almost dig your feet in and just keep going with that. Have an attitude that you'll get through it. And I think that's sort of what that resilience sort of means, that just that keep going and doing things that you might not want to do, but feel like you need to do to sort of overcome it.
So it's who we are in those moments when we want to give up, when we don't want to keep moving forward, or we don't know how.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone would have had a time when we've been faced with a moment where we need to choose to, I guess, go and get over it or sort of hang back. And 9 times out of 10, when you do dig a little deeper and use that inner resilience, you're able to get through it and get out the other side. And you're glad you've done that.
So you would experience this in your sport as well, I imagine, when you're, for example, the tournaments that you've had this week or in the last couple of weeks. Tell me how you feel resilient. What does resilience mean to you in an athlete's sense?
Yeah, well, I think especially in terms of golf and what I'm playing, the win percentage is so low. So every week you're going out there, you're trying to do your best. Obviously, you'd love to win, and that's a lot of the goal, but 9 times out of 10, you're not going to win. There's another 150 players that are trying to do the same thing, and one of you is going to win. So I think being able to deal with that, and then sort of the resilience of it all is coming back to less about the outcome and more about the process of me improving each time I go on the golf course, rather than, I finished 10th this week or I finished 80th. It's more about how I can keep improving and trusting that process that will then lead to better results down the track, because you know how hard it is to get those really good finishes, like top 5 and
that's
a win,
such good advice, and how we should look at our current challenges in life, where on a micro level, if we focus on end result, it can be very disruptive and defeating. But if we look at everything from a bird's eye perspective on that macro level, we can see that if we didn't get the best result that we wanted today on whatever it is, whether it's sport or work or within relationships or anything, then maybe that moment was the next best step for the greater good of whatever really is next. And that's where I like to talk about, how are setbacks really setbacks at all? Because maybe we put a desire out there, that I want this, and then life brings coincidences and people and messages, I believe, every single day. And then when we listen to that, we are often guided onto a new path, which is separate to the one we've been walking on before. But if we see that change as stressful, or we don't listen, we can see our, the opportunities are not seen that way. They're more seen as setbacks. And so maybe resilience, even when you're in a game, performing in sport, it is really about, seeing the challenges that you face. Maybe it is getting you stronger for the next thing.
Yeah, that's what
Doesn't
I
matter.
often think about. Yeah, it's often like, or maybe this is telling me something that I need to work on this, or I need to be more aware when I'm on the golf course, like use my awareness more, or like just having in my head that it's a constant growth period, a constant growth process that I'm on. So it's not all about this. As much as it is nice to play well, it's not about this exact moment when it might not be going well. It's sort of cultivating you for something that could be bigger down the path.
Yeah. When you play at your best, what has fallen into place for you in your day?
I feel like everything sort of just feels like it flows so easily.
Yeah.
Like walk with better posture, everything, like time feels it can feel fast, as if the day goes quickly, but during each moment, it's like you're just experiencing it all. Everything's sort of very easy, very smooth, if that
So there's
makes
no
sense.
resistance going on in your mind or body. That's what I'm hearing.
No, yeah. And it feels like you're almost getting out of, well, for me, I feel like I'm getting out of my own way. So I'm picking the golf shot that I'm about to hit. I'm choosing, visualizing what I want to hit. And then I just stand in there and do it, rather than
let go.
Rather than thinking of, all right, well, I need my swing to be like in certain positions, which like can sort of get into your head when you're not playing as well. So yeah, it's very free flowing and free like that.
Have you watched the new Top Gun movie?
No, I haven't yet. I think I've been meaning to go and see it.
So good, by the way. But they say, like, is it Tom Cruise that says it? It's who says it? Yeah, I think it's Tom. And it's like, don't think, just do. Because when you're up there in the plane, you're dead if you think. And be the same in sports performance, or even business performance, or even in our daily life of performance is, it's important to think, and there's a time to be analytical. But I imagine the best days that you perform at your best is when you've put that bit aside, because you train and train and train, and you do the method and the form and all the analytical calculations. And as a dancer would also need to perform, it is really about trusting that is ingrained, and then you just need to let go and let the dance routine or the golf routine come out of you like magic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the hardest thing is with golf is that I can never replicate the same shot. Like once I've hit it, like it's just that constant, and you can never perfect it. So it's always that constant, I feel like I want to get better. And it's happened multiple times where a golfer's got to number one in the world, like the best of the best. And they then start changing something about their game because they want to get better. And then they drop way off.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like they get to the top and they're like, okay, but I want to keep getting better, or I want to hit it further, or something like that. And it sort of can undo them a little bit. So
maybe that's how artists as well, how they can't replicate that next hit album. They get really nervous about it. And because how do you create that magic again?
Yeah. But the magic happened because you were in the flow state. Like you sort of trusted yourself and let go.
So do you think that obvious things like mind, body work, food and nutrition and connection are obviously really important things to integrate in for flow state? What else?
As I said, sort of that daily process, I find that has helped me massively. Like if you break things down onto a smaller level, you're able to achieve bigger things by just chipping away at little things. So for me, whether that's waking up and doing a meditation and then starting my day with some stretching before I go to golf, like all those sort of things are put in place to then help the bigger performance or just day-to-day life things on a bigger scale. So the little things, the little process goals, I think daily can help a lot.
So how old are you now, Blake?
25.
25. How long have you been
Yeah.
golfing for?
I probably started when I was about 10 years old. Growing up, I played a lot of other sport at school and outside of school. So footy, basketball, cricket, swimming,
Yep.
tennis, like a lot of sport. And then just sort of kept golf up in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I did want to play footy or basketball when I was sort of that 14, 15, 16. And then, I made a state team in when I was 16, sorry. So,
Yep.
for golf. And then that sort of sparked my interest that way a little bit more and
Yep.
started to improve there. And I like the side aspect of it that it's sort of, when I go out on the golf course and I was practicing on my own, it's very peaceful and calm, and you're sort of working on your.
Yeah. I'm back. I froze for a bit.
Did you
And
catch the end of mine?
no, where we got to was your age 25 and you started playing golf when you were 10 and you were playing footy as well. And then shortly after that, it cut out.
Okay. Should I just say it all again?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started playing golf when I was about 10 years old. And growing up, I played a lot of other sports. So footy, basketball, cricket, swimming, tennis, a lot of other sports. I enjoyed doing that with my friends from school. And then sort of as I transitioned into that 14, 15, 16 age, I wanted to play either footy or basketball and was flat out with that training and playing. And sort of had kept the golf up in the background and played a few tournaments in school holidays. And then, managed to make a junior Victorian state team. And then that sort of, sparked my interest more about going down that path. And I enjoyed going after school and practicing at the golf course sort of on my own. It was quite peaceful and working on my game. And I like that side of it, about like what I put into it, I get out of it. So, and then that sort of took me down that path and ended up there's a lot in between, but turned professional at the end of 2019.
Yeah.
So it's been exciting.
And what I love about you, and this is how we met, is you really place a lot of importance on mindset and inner work as well as the outer work that's required as an athlete. I think it was approximately somewhere around a year ago, I met you as a client at my private practice. How do you find kinesiology's helped you?
Well, I don't know if this is, probably more so in golf. I feel like you're always in your head because it's just often you on the golf course. And then, as I said before, how difficult it can be to replicate shots and play really well. So there's a lot of chatter that can go on inside your head. And especially, when you're trying to perform your best, you just want to have the tools and, sort of ways to be able to put that aside and then sort of focus on what's important. So, a lot around the mindset stuff that we've worked on and journaling and meditation, like a lot of things that we've worked on have helped a lot. And I think through the last 2.5 years with COVID, I hadn't in previous years had any chance I'd just been training and playing different sport. And then COVID came along. It was like, well, I can't do any of this. So it gave me a chance to sort of pull back sort of out of the hamster wheel, I guess. And then, focus on some of those things more mentally. And
because daily rituals to you are very important, aren't they?
So being able to kind of step back and focus on some of the other stuff has actually helped more me as a person, which I've really enjoyed learning that sort of stuff and growing in that way.
That's good. So I'd love you to share something that you've been through that you've had to overcome in your life.
Well, something that comes to mind is it was probably around that sort of 17, 18 age where I'd played a few years in the Victorian junior state team and then was transitioning. So I must have been 18, transitioning into the men's state team. And we'd had a training camp and the coaches were like, you should be in the state team, like basically saying it was pretty much a lock-in. And anyway, we were at a tournament and the state team came out and I wasn't in, and I was devastated, more for the fact that the coaches had said, oh yeah, you'll be in, like you're fine and that sort of stuff. And then it just came as such a shock. Like I think I just captained the junior state team and played well. And it was just a bit, it was a really big shock. And I remember being at the tournament sort of going around to where no one could see me and sort of like, yeah, just like sitting down, having a few tears, because I was one of those things in your head where you feel like it was almost a certainty, and then it just comes as such a shock. So, yeah, I think that was sort of, yeah, one of those moments that I had to sort of overcome in my golfing career, and
Yeah.
sort of made me, from that point on, I was like, oh, I'm really gonna like work really hard at this and make sure it doesn't happen again, sort of thing, or do
Well,
what
it
I
ends
can in
up
my
being
power
a
to make sure.
blessing. Yeah, maybe it was a blessing, that first rejection, being
Mm,
told, oh, you're going to get it, you're going to get it. And then to be, building that confidence and almost innocence about it
mm.
all. And then to learn that sometimes things don't go our way. It makes you work harder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And even, well, I think now it was actually a really good thing. And often, even I guess with the group of sort of 5 or 6 of the guys my age that sort of came through all the state programs together, I was probably like not, I was probably 5 or 6 out of 4, 5, 6 out of that pack. So it was always keep working to try and get up that pack, but also like
Yeah.
understand that not everything's given straight away. So it's given me that resilience and sort of thing that I can go play a tournament on my own in another country, and travel that on my own, and learn, like kind of work my way through those things.
Mm.
So it's actually, I think, it been a blessing for me.
Definitely, definitely. And when you were told that, you didn't get in, how did it feel when you felt at your lowest?
Yeah, I think it almost feels like you're on your own in your
Yeah,
head. It's just like, oh, it feels like no one's there, or you sort of just, you're sitting with
unsupported.
yourself, or yeah, you're unsupported. Yeah, I think that's the main thing that sort of comes to mind when you have a point like that.
Yeah,
I mean, in
yeah.
general, I mean, I try not to let things weigh me down, and try and have a very positive mindset through a lot of things. But in a moment like that, yeah, you sort of feel like you're on your own, and
And
you're
that's
you're
normal
not
and you're totally
supported.
allowed. And if you didn't have, the daily rituals that you've now integrated into your life as, as we get older and we get wiser, it's who we are in those moments. That's what I believe resilience is all about, is how we back ourselves when things don't go our way. How do we connect and build that inner anchor within our bodies and our hearts and our minds, where you just feel like you just drop and you don't feel like you're supporting yourself. Because when you don't feel supported externally in your life, that's when that inner support needs to kick in, right? And
Mm.
who teaches us this unless we go and find, practitioners, or, schools are starting some really great programs, and that's really good to see. But I remember when I was at school, I wasn't taught this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't think I was either. And
Yeah.
I think to me, it sort of came about the start of COVID, when we had a new coach come down to Victoria, and sort of started, just sent me a few podcasts on some health things, some diet stuff, and then from
Mm.
there it sort of has morphed into, yeah, like how I can keep improving as a person. And then that's
Yeah.
how, through a podcast, a Pete Evans podcast, I came across an interview with yourself, and then yeah, I
Yeah.
wanted to come and see, and then
Yeah.
yeah, from there it's sort of that constant growth
Yeah.
on myself.
Yeah. And it's so wonderful to see. That's what inspires me about you, is you're very aware, and you're very dedicated to your craft and your sport, but there's no ego with you. You're very aware if it comes in, which is perfectly normal, and you're very grounded, and you're willing to do the work in within as well as externally, and that's why you're going to go really far, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think even at, oh, thank you for that.
It's all
But
right.
even at the moment, I find how, yeah, I might be going, like, there's not many tournaments on, sort of going through a little bit of a tough patch with my golf, but I
Yeah.
really have this inner belief that an opportunity is going to arise soon. Something will pop up. I'll create an
Yes.
opportunity for myself, and then I'll
Yeah.
take that. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm still able to have that little bit of like positivity and
And hope.
and um and
Hope is
hope
so
that,
important.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the gut intuition that you might be tapping into, is when we try and stay connected, even when it feels like we're not performing on top of our game, or things aren't working out in the way that we wanted them to. Sometimes you do get that little tickle of, no, 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 something's coming. And if
Mm.
you can listen to that, you've got to be quite connected to feel that, intuition.
Yeah, and it is a fit, like I can genuinely feel it. So I think when you are
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
you can really really feel
Yeah.
that sense of hope.
So how is your life better now, having gone through what you went through when you didn't make it to the state team?
Yeah, well, I think I'm now open to learning things more outside of golf, like growing as a person, doing things that make me happy, and then tying that all in to my golf. Like I feel like now, and from that moment, it's like I play golf as a profession. Well, now
Yeah.
I do, but like
Yeah.
I'm not just Blake Collier, the professional golfer. I'm Blake Collier, and I play professional golf, and then I've got other things that I
Yes.
do as well. So it's having a more well-rounded sort of approach.
Great.
I'm really,
Great.
as I said, like open to growing and finding ways that I can improve as a person, which then sort of as a byproduct leads into my golf. So yeah,
Yes.
it's sort of being well-rounded and sort of, yeah, not attaching myself to Blake Collier. He's a professional golfer. It's like Blake Collier, he plays professional golf and he does other
I
things.
think
And
that's
yeah,
very healthy of you. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's sort of helped me a lot and something that I've
Yeah.
been focusing on.
That's awesome. So what would be 3 tips that you would share that can help others to believe in themselves or to navigate a similar situation that you went through when you were, things didn't go your way?
Yeah, well, I think even touching on what I said before about feeling in that moment like alone, like a bit of like lack of support. For me, the first thing is probably remembering that we're all worthy of happiness and success,
Yeah.
and whether that, and it doesn't mean that it's going to happen all the time, but we will get that at some point. So just remembering that those moments will come, but just sort of, yeah, like sticking at what you're doing and know that we're all worthy of that happiness and success, and it will come.
It will come.
Um, the second tip that I would have is to create create an environment around you that can help positively with your transformation. So surround yourself with like-minded people, people that are genuinely happy to help you,
Yeah.
and people that have your best interest. Because I think what I've found is having a really close knit group of people, whether that's even like, for me, it's probably like my family and then maybe 3
Yeah.
or 4 others,
Yeah.
that they all have my best interest and
Yeah.
they want to do what they can to help me. So
Yeah.
that's been, yeah, really important.
That's
And
good.
then finally, have patience. So for
Oh,
me,
that's a
I
good
think,
one.
yeah, I think for me, I like, we all go through stages where we feel like we want it. Like what I said, like a hurdle comes up and you've just got to be patient and know that, and this sense of knowing and hope, like we said, about that things will happen, things will go your way, things will positively change if you're going through a tough time. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, having that patience to know
That's
that
so
it will happen.
beautiful. They're really great tips, Blake. Thank you.
No, that's all right.
Well, all the notes are going to be in the notes section. And if you want to follow Blake, you can find him on Instagram for Blake_Collier, COLLIER1, and on Twitter
Oh,
as well. Was
yeah,
that right?
Collyer, COLLYER.
Oh, my bad. YER.
That's all right.
Thank you. Yeah, I wrote
Yeah,
I. Yeah, YER1. And then on
that's
on Twitter as well. But we'll have all these notes anyway. My bad. Sorry, Blake. And
that's
your
all right. A lot of people do that.
I don't know. I actually think, I don't know why I did that. My bad. I should know by now. You are one of my clients. I should know how to spell your name. But thank you so much for being with me tonight on this show. I've been wanting to interview you for quite some time now, and I know that the wisdom you've just shared will help so many people.
Oh, thank you. No, thanks for having me on. It's great to be on your podcast finally. We've spoken about it for a while. So, and you've come
Yeah,
on my podcast
I
previously. So it's good
have.
to be able to jump on yours. So thank you for
Thank
having me.
you. Well, guys, if you liked the show or and the podcast, please remember to subscribe. And anything that you're going through, please know that you can overcome it. I'll see you next time.